Hello and welcome to this shot of me making a cutboard. I started out rough cutting the pieces I need, and as you might have learned, there's this most horrible sound quality, but yeah, I know. So, cutting up cherry, walnut, and maple. This is the first rough cut result. While turning on a lava lamp, which I don't have, my camera decided that I should look like I glow in the dark. While doing this, I decided to jointer my workpieces with equally poor sound quality. Once jointed, I planed the opposite side. Now everything becomes squared, proper, and nice. Took several passes, so this took its time, but it all resulted in me being able to dab on glue, and apparently I have a ghost in my house as my back door opened. Nobody there. While I'm clamping these boards, I wish I had more clamps. Then this part of the project wouldn't take so long. Of course, I could have bought thicker lumber, but these boards were a lot lighter on my wallet. Not to mention that squeeze out of glue is just fantastic. After waiting and waiting and some more waiting of, for glue to dry, I decided that it was time to make these boards into strips. So off we go to the table saw, ripping away. Now, I spent some time arranging the strips into a pattern I like, and then comes the big thing again, namely the glue up of the thick strips. Now watch me work super speed, making that glue bottle suffer. Once these strips all got their well-deserved amount of glue, it is time to clamp. The only thing I have to do is check those edges so that they're nice and flush, and then I can apply more clamps. I love those parallel clamps of mine. They make my life so much easier. Again, watch that squeeze out. The following day, I must remove the now hardened squeeze out using a sharp chisel. Not into your imagination, this is really time consuming. I got fed up with it really fast. So, out comes the router sled. This is a jig I built after seeing 8 different versions. So I decided I should make my own. The result is much to my liking, and that brings me to the next step. Crosscut blade time. For some reason, I misplaced the horrible sound from my table saw when cleaning up the edge. As the board, as you see, is so thick, I took several passes raising the blade time and time again. This made the entire process here very, very long. But hey, I made it. What I really liked here was the fact that my calculations of the curve was almost dead on. There is very, very little waste here. After coming up with the strips is, of course, the final glue up, or known as the second glue up. But in my case, it's the third. Here you can run into all sorts of problems. Strips warping, pattern not lining up. So I learned that this is important where I take my time, because once the glue is set, there is no return. Also, at this point, there is no such thing as too much glue. And guess what? Parallel clamps saved my day again. Now, I routed off the squeeze out on the backside in the sled, and then I moved on to sanding. I did some hamster dancing in the background. Why? Because I could. I ended up sanding so much that I actually dreamt of sanding at night. Then I woke up and I hoped that it was done, only to realize that there was a backside as well. After doing some more hamster dancing and sanding of the backside, I came to the point where I decided I want to make a groove for juices. So I routed one. For this, I used my palm router in a jig which I just happened to come up with right there on the spot. I took several passes for the best result. Now, I moved on to chamfer the edges on the outside. For this, I used my homemade router table. Both grooves and edges came out nice. Once these edges were done on both sides, I sanded it just to remove the rough edges. And here you go. Now for the most exciting part, the oiling. As you see, I dab on quite a lot and just happen to have a piece of cloth and rubbing it out. And the oil is a mineral oil, which I bought at the hardware store. And it's actually really, really good. Oil is, of course, applied several times. So, what do you think? Comment, like, and subscribe. Cheers!